Toto, I'm not in Kansas anymore. Welcome from Busan. I'm in the Busan Citizen Park. Let me find my light. It's my first day here. Hydrating after a hooping session, which was lovely. The energy here is very different. Noticeably in how people respond to my energy, to my presence. This is the first time I've worn my hair like this, but it's not my hair. It's all of me. It's not just my hair. I literally had red braids in Seoul, and there are people who just did not give a fuck. I'll prop it up so you can see what I'm wearing. I'm not gonna slut shame myself, but just for documentarian purposes, you can see what I'm giving. Okay. You know, it's giving... It's giving sporty spice, you know, it's giving sassy, you know, it's giving a little spice down. I forget also, or I'm remembering also that people are afraid of witches, but I also know that people associate a lot of things with witchery because of racism, transphobia, femmephobia, queerphobia, anti-blackness, misogyny, misogynoir, all of those things. Like somebody just automatically assuming that like a man can't be a witch, or like a white person is like a good witch, a white witch. Like if like a white person and a black person were like wearing the same things or using the same medicine, it would be seen as like demonized. Just processing in real time, because I know that, you know, people are also reacting to the talisman that I wear for my own protection. Mainly spiritual protection, because people do spiritually, physically, verbally attack me. That's one of the main reasons why I wear this talisman. A being that I would really only commune with like on my altar space, or in healings that I would do, like energetic healings, Reiki healings, Seiken intuitive healings. I would, you know, be protected. I would take this being with me to actions, any space where I was pouring libations over blood, over, you know, places where people were killed by the state. I would defend myself, arm myself. But I didn't really feel a urgent need to do that in my daily out of the house life until like 2 years ago, when just harassment on the street increased to the point where I needed to show people who the fuck I was and what people are dealing with. So there is a level of don't fuck with me energy that, I wear on a daily basis. And it's so interesting because there are some people that literally do not see it. Like people I've talked to, and all of a sudden they're like, whoa. Like for like hours I've talked to them, and then all of a sudden they're like, what is that on your chest? And then I'm like, it's a claw. They're like, oh, has it always been there? I'm like, yeah, I didn't just put it on during us talking, like it's always been there. Yeah, there are just some people that don't see it. But one thing that I do notice is that people tend to look at my chest to like make sense of me. I have a large chest, larger than most of the people grown to participate in like manhood that I've seen have, to the point where like, I mean, it was like a source of like, bullying, I guess, or like a source of like what people would identify a difference that I would have. Like people would like flick my boobs and like call them that in like middle school and stuff. Like, oh, like you have boobs, And then when I gain weight, that is one of the places that gets bigger. Like my grandfather, like 2 years ago, asked me if I was taking hormones to transition. And I was like, no, why? He was like, oh, your chest looks like it's getting bigger. It's just like, and what? There are actually like 2 other beings, trans beings, trans femmes, one in Mexico, one in Brazil, that asked me like if I got surgery to, enhance my breasts. And I said no. They're like, what? Because I guess, people do have flat chests. I've never had that. The reality of having a flat chest has never been one that I know or participate in. Anywho, I'm still circling around. Maybe it's what I look like, of like this like difference in reaction, but people are definitely more not in their own worlds. They're definitely more present, more out of their phones. I feel like that was one thing that kept people from noticing me in Seoul, was that they were in their phones. And it was because of that I got to fly under the radar, I'm not flying under the radar here. People are very present. People are very engaged. It's been a mixed bag. Today was just like intense because like it's always a measuring point for me to like see how children react to me. And when I start seeing like young beings like make fun of me or mock me, it really concerns me. Because I'm just like, damn, like that's the culture of like these like young beings coming up who like know how to bully and how to proposition themselves as the center, so that anything that is different is seen as worthy of being mocked instead of celebrated, instead of investigated, being curious about. I love children who are like inquisitive and open and expansive. That's not what I'm talking about. There are many children, even babies, even who like are just so unbiased, you know, or the least unbiased, where it's like they're just like, they see and they're just like, whoa, you know. Love that. But when I see like young beings like talking to each other and like making faces or like mocking, or that just is so sad to me. And that happened today a few times. And then I got recorded for the first time in like a couple of months. I mean, I'm trying to think. When I was in Seoul, people recorded me. People did. While I was hooping. But I don't know. It was just very different. First of all, it was a man. So that's already, I'm like, ugh, what are you doing? Like, why are you? The other beings were like young, like teen girls who like recorded me. I'm like, okay. Or like maybe like older women with children, you know? It's just a different energy. This man did have a child with him, but he just like really, he like came close to me to do it. Like he was far away recording me and then came close to do it and then left and then like sat down on like a bench to do it. Like it had to have been for like at least 2 to 3 songs of this man like really wanting to capture me. And I saw him like take his phone over to wherever his like baby mama was sitting, and I was just so disgusted. So yeah, I'm hungry. I didn't bring snacks, even though I have all of these mini apples and almonds and rice cakes. Like, it's just so many good snacks. I didn't bring any of them with me. Kind of sad about that, but I'm going to meditate here. I'm going to play my sound bowl and get some food while I'm out. While the sun's still out, and just enjoy the sunlight and this park, even though I've been getting weird vibes from the people here. Okay. Bye. Okay. I actually don't have the bandwidth to talk about this conversation. At least, like, not in the middle of this goddamn field. Busan is weird. Okay. It's not Busan as much as it is just our energy together. I was literally just just had a little cruising moment with, I think, this 80-year-old Korean man and his friend. Yeah, I don't have the bandwidth to talk about this. Where I'm at right now, I definitely want to like share about this experience. I think I'll record a video when I'm at home. Gotta process a little bit. Hula hooping, and I will be back to talk about this because I think it's important, especially because I literally spent like an hour meditating and then this experience happened. I'm like, it wasn't really a negative experience. But it was definitely chaotically neutral. Nothing's necessarily neutral, which is why chaos kind of like adds to the reality of things being like very complex. Chaos to me symbolizes that it is like there are multiple energies, both positive and negative, like present. Like there's no pattern, there's no binary, there's just, so I guess it's not necessarily neutral, it's just highly chaotic. I guess that's what it was. Anywho, I'm gonna hula hoop because I need to process. I'm gonna do it right in the middle because yeah, I'm gonna do it here while there's still a little bit of sunlight left. I'm just gonna process before getting some food and going back inside. What a weird day. I literally said a lot and nothing at the same time, but that's what we're doing. I'll give you more information once I get inside. Bye. Okay. So I'm inside. I was able to do some hula hooping, which was lovely. Some young girls came up to me and I was able to say my my 3 sentences like 안녕하세요. 한국어 조금 알아요. 조금 알아요. 한국어 공부해요. 미국 사람이에요. 네. 로스앤젤레스이에요. 로스앤젤레스. 감사합니다. That's what I was able to say, and it was lovely, and I was thankful. After just the day that I had, or during the day that I was having, it was nice to just be affirmed by some lovely beings who were just excited to see me and see me dance. And these 2 came up to me and started to do this dancing routine while I was hooping. And that was cool. And their friend recorded them doing it for me and me. It was very strange because it was a very long routine. It had to be like at least 2 minutes, maybe. They were there for a long time just dancing in front of me for me, which I was thankful for. But it was kind of strange and magical in that strangeness. But yeah, I'm about to have a very brief sexual conversation. So if sex is something that you don't want to hear, I suggest you skip this portion. If it's something that you don't want to hear from me, I suggest you skip it. Because I'm going to be as explicit and also as specific as I can while talking about this, because I mean, it's really the name of the game. It's been the name of the year, at least for me. Like, just thematically, sex is very much, yeah, a very present and prominent and powerful part of my life. So, yeah, Busan was already, it's already been weird boots, and I hadn't put any offerings down. I still haven't put any offerings down on the ground other than my time, my energy, and my prayers. So I was praying. I was trying to get some food in me maybe, and just the place that I found selling hot dogs, the person didn't smile at me, just not really inviting at all. And I'd been in places where, people are inviting. So I try to follow that feeling, and it wasn't there. So I was like, okay, well, let me just use the restroom and duck off. And it was wild because I found a bench and I was gonna, hold up there, and I was drinking some Gatorade, and this hornet came and just kept buzzing around me, and I was just like, okay. So I was kind of shepherded off into this other section where I found this place, where the place I just came from. You saw where I was recording my outfit and all of that, and I had just got done praying with the sunset and playing my sound bowl. And then after I was done, this older Korean man came up to me, just walked right up, sat right down, and began to, ask me where I'm from, ask me if I'm a man or a woman, and then yeah, this conversation I feel is gonna be more than 10 minutes, but I want to cap it at maybe 15, because I already feel some judgment and guilt coming up at me engaging with strangers sexually, just on the street. And unfortunately, and there is a part of, I'm trying to think of the part that is fortunate, of just the kind of comet or fleeting experiences of sex that I've experienced with strangers being positive. And for the most part, it's either been extremely negative or very chaotically neutral. There really hasn't been the positive, the one positive that I can really pull from it is yeah, my instant gratification of feeling I am desired, or feeling I am, feeling yeah, feeling horny, and being able to have that feeling satiated, interact with, engaged with, stimulated in ways that, yeah, there have been times where I've interacted with people anonymously, strangers that, have felt beneficial in that regard. Anywho, I after a certain time, period, I knew where that was going. He, asked me if I was gay, and then talked about my penis. So I literally just grabbed all of my stuff, and I just scooted next to him, kind of with my my legs kind of propped, and he was just woo, and just went to town, just fondling me, grabbing my genitals, and I really want to be as scientific as possible with this, because, well, there's a lot that comes up. I feel like this conversation is like one that just needs more time, and also some like one that I think like needs people. Like I really love to talk to people about their experiences. When I tell them about my sexual experiences, a lot of people are quite shocked, or people have like, you know, like found a lot of similarities in this. But people like come up to me on the street and engage with me sexually. Like that is something that I've experienced since I was quite young. Since I was 16 years old, people have been very explicitly, you know, clear about what they want. This man was very clear, and I picked up the signal, and there was like a decision of like, you know, do I grab all of my stuff and just, you know, say, oh, like, bye, you know, or do I continue the conversation? And I did continue the conversation, and he did touch me, and it did feel good. And I was very curious about also like, and this is something that I found myself like in around boundaries, around like decision making, around engaging with things, like not fully knowing if it's like something that I want, engaging in the thing to like understand or figure out what I want. I was gathering a lot of information about the city, about like people here, about like gay elders, about, you know, like closeted gay Korean men. This man had to be in his 70s or 80s. And then he like, you know, reacted to, you know, touching me, and was just like, whoa. He, you know, enjoyed himself. And he like FaceTimed his friend and like was like, where are you? And his friend came, and his friend was just like looking at me, looking at him touch me. And then like his friend like finally sat down and had a little touch, and, you know, asked me where I was from, all of this. Asked me if I was gay. I was like, sure. Like, asked me if I was, I mean, he didn't say if I was like a woman or not, but like the other man, when he was like, are you a man or a woman? And then like touched my boobs and was like, what are these? You know, like he was so confused about my chest being so big. And that's just something that's so funny, because I was literally just talking about that. So it was interesting to get that confirmation from him, because he literally was like, I mean, full on facial hair, whatever. He was still like, what are you? And then he told me to like meet him again on Saturday. Didn't get my number or anything, but was like, you should come here on Saturday. And him and his friend like left, and I was just so flabbergasted. You saw where I was in that. But I'll continue this conversation. I think like it's an important one for me right now, because I have been quite horny lately. And been examining like what horniness like feels like what horniness is in what I need. And I've had, you know, a long history with sex, with sexual interactions, with sexual encounters, some multiple times a day, feeling very unsatiated or unfulfilled in these sexual encounters, even after having multiple encounters, still having this need and this desire. So I feel like being horny and arriving at sex, arriving at stimulation, genital stimulation, orgasm. And this is all like sex also informed by other people with penises, which I feel like causes some just makes for like a conversation around time and how quick like interactions with like people with penises can be. Like sex can be quite short, whereas like, you know, sex between like sapphic sex or lesbian sex, queer sex, trans sex is just so transcendent, in that, you know, yeah, these encounters aren't as fleeting. That being said, I feel like horniness is a vehicle that usually arrives at like sex and or orgasm, but I really like, I keep on landing on the word comfort. And outside of this like elder Korean man fondling my genitalia, I did enjoy it. And I think like, when I think like I'm looking, like I'm seeing his face in my head, like I wasn't like attracted to him. And again, like I feel like I really feel like my relationship with attraction is also like one that is like, yeah, very, very different from like being physically attracted to people. Like I am, but like I really, if I'm intrigued by like somebody, like, and we're, you know, like if somebody intrigues me, like it really doesn't matter to me if I'm like that's the attraction to me, outside of like what their body is doing. I have been groomed to participate in like identifying certain bodies or certain looks or certain things as sexual, which have always been disrupted, even just in how volatilely different my sexual partners have been, even within like most of them I probably identifying as cis men or not trans and having like penises. Anywho, I was comforted. I found comfort in being touched by a stranger, feeling his soft hands like on my skin, and he touched my hand first. So this has just been a 15-minute kind of, conversation that obviously needs to be continued. So I think I'll make another blog about sex, specifically my relationship with sex, even while traveling, sexual patterns that are coming up around this moon. It is an Aries full moon right now. I was able to like look at the moon and be like, what the fuck? What is going on? So if you stayed long enough to hear my brain ramblings about sex and this very disjointed recounting of, you know, this very brief and fleeting sexual encounter with this elder man in Busan. Thanks for sharing or staying. I'm curious about anything you share. If it, you know, is a question and if it is a statement, I pray that, you know, it is respectful and loving and, you know, curious. I'm gonna eat the food that I got, and yeah, I'm gonna shower and then eat some food and then watch some Korean drama.